work lifestyle has caught fire, and we talk about the rewards and challenges of it. This is the Wandering Worker Podcast with Matt Lloyd.
Yes, I am Matt Lloyd, the host of the Wandering Worker Podcast. You know, believe it or not, when everyone started working remotely at scale a few years back, after that awful COVID thing hit us, my company embraced it fully. We actually really think it's an awesome thing. It's good for us. It's good for our people. So if you have any questions or topics you want to be discussed, hit us up at thewanderingworkerpodcast.com. And this show is powered by my company, Magic Apple Technology, where we have been saving good businesses from bad phone systems since 2008. My guest today, number one guest, number one show, first time ever, awesome stuff, is Jeremy Apple, my business partner. Jeremy, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
So yeah, what's unique about this is we did start our business in 2008, and about 2 weeks from now, we'll be celebrating our 15 years in business. It's no small feat, my friend.
It isn't.
How does that make you feel to know that? Yes. It is a live studio audience today too, by the way.
Right.
So how does that make you feel knowing that you've been doing this for 15 years and you're still doing it?
It's fantastic. I mean, it's come a long way from where we started.
Three people, $300.
Exactly.
We grew it to this. So yeah, it's definitely, it's a triumph for a feat or something to be proud of, whatever you want to say.
Yes.
So today, Jeremy, I thought what we'd do, since this is the first one, is we'd talk a little bit about our history, where we came from, what we're about, and then dig in a little bit deeper and pick your really, really big smart brain about what you've noticed since COVID and our quote unquote new normal and everything around working remotely, and that now it's starting to become a lifestyle versus just, I work from home. You know what I mean? It's more of a thing. I work from home and I get to travel and stuff. So let's start a little bit with just our history and where we kind of came from, right?
Yeah.
So I met Jeremy in 2005. It was 2005. We were working for a company that did a lot of stuff. But
with some of what we're not sure.
Not even 100% sure of. And Jeremy and I did phone systems.
Yes.
So I sold them, Jeremy installed them. Yep. And we were using, at the time, we were playing with the new Linux-based system called Asterisk.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about how you learned, how you got to where you had to learn how to do Asterisk.
Right. So the company that Matt had started in 2005 with, I had been with since 2000, and we were into open source software. And at some point, a guy in Huntsville started a open source phone system called Asterisk, and we started messing with that in like 2001 at that company. And around 2002 or 3, we had some Polycom phones on some desk at the office, and one of the other guys didn't have time to help me figure it out or anything.
Yeah.
So I wanted a cool phone on my desk as well.
As you should.
So I sat down and played with the Linux and figured it out. And next thing I know, I have a cool phone on my desk, and Matt comes on board, and I'm installing phone systems all of a sudden.
Yep.
So
and we didn't do many, but we did enough to learn and start to get our feet wet and understand what that whole thing looks like. And we were at that for 2 years, I guess, roughly.
3.
Is it 3? Okay.
Well,
2.5, 3.
For you, it was the end of 2007.
Yeah.
And mine
that's right. You were about
08.
6 months later.
Yeah.
Okay. So, no, it wasn't 08 because we went from that to the other company.
But mine was 08.
Were you only at the other company for a short period of time?
I was only there 5 months.
Oh man, I totally forgot that.
Yeah, you were there for 7.
That's right.
You went in November.
I have not forgotten that.
Yeah.
So the job that I met you at, that business shut down. It just sometimes these things,
he let us know what October, Halloween time that it was closing down the end of year.
And so I went right away to go try to find something new. I was trying to help you land another job at a place I thought you would be happy, because we had kind of become friends, and I didn't want to just see you get screwed over. So we found, I started with the company in Dallas. I'm not going to mention that name either, but I found with this company in Dallas, and you were going to start did you accept the offer for the other company?
Well,
It's pretty close, right?
I had an offer. Do you want to say the name?
No, let's just leave all that out.
Okay. I had an offer from a large telephone company, and I was going to be a sales engineer.
Yeah.
And my offer letter was good to Sunday. And you called me on a Friday evening. I think I was in Atlanta helping a friend that weekend. And you're like, don't take that job.
Well, I remember because I was talking to, at the time, one of the higher ups at this new company. I was in Dallas doing some training and stuff. And I was just talking to him, and I kind of brought you up, and his ears kind of perked up a little bit when I mentioned Asterisk. And he goes, you know somebody you know? And I was like, oh, I know somebody who knows it very well.
Yeah.
And I knew what your offer was. It's the guy was like, well, do you think we'd gain for this? And I was like, I think that number needs to be a little bit higher. So I helped negotiate you a raise before you got started.
Yes, you did.
So,
and that was a much better position than the other one was. The other one was going to require me to drive.
Yeah.
So I lived at the time in Springfield.
Yeah.
And so I was going to have to drive to Brentwood and be there 8 every morning.
Yeah.
And this thought of that was just not fun.
No. And we're at Nashville, by the way. Thanks, Jim. We're at Nashville, by the way. So Springfield and all that was north of town.
Brentwood's about a 45-minute drive from Springfield, and it's painful at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, and so, that happened. We put that behind us. We go to work for this company in Dallas. Things are going pretty well, but it's so weird because of the way that they kind of do things there. We, in our market in Tennessee, is basically Jeremy and you and I were the main people in Nashville and the whole Tennessee market.
We're the only people in Tennessee.
And it was super hard for us to sell anything here because it was so expensive. And we were signing people up as resellers just to be able to
get a discount to be able to sell our stuff. Halfway
be competitive with the pricing. And we'd get on the sales calls, and my boss I'd be like, dude, I can't sell. I mean, we're 3 times higher than anybody in town. I mean, there's value, and then there is an outstanding cost barrier here. And he goes, I know you guys are doing, just hang in there. And there's people getting fired right and left for not performing, and we couldn't perform, but he was like, oh, you're doing a good job. I was like, this is so weird.
Yeah, and I spent most of my time
they flew Dallas. You up to Dallas.
Yeah, I stayed in a corporate apartment and got a stipend. And so... and
if you remember, it was like, that was going on, and then literally like that, I got a phone call. I think it happened. Then I got fired. Matter of fact, all the salespeople but one, I think they fired like 250 people or something.
Yeah, so that was on June 30th of 2008. I was at the corporate building, which was in Irving, Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there eating lunch, and I see them walk a technician to the door
with his box.
Shake his hand, hand him his box of stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's not good.
I've seen that in movies before.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not going to play out well. And so I'm sitting here eating lunch, and I get a call from my boss, and he's like, hey, I'm up in HR's office. Come on, stepping up here when you get a chance. I'm like, dang it, I'm getting canned today too. And so they gave me a plane ticket that left in 2 hours, and they went to the corporate apartment, watched me while I clean all my stuff up, and drive to the airport. My phone's like run down because I'm making phone calls. Yeah. Hey, I'm coming home. I got a flight. Y'all pick me up at the airport because I think I'd had a car pick me up at the house and take me because I've been there for several months.
Yeah.
And I had a house back in Springfield. So I'm in the airport. Matt calls me. He's like, guess what? I'm like, what? He's like, I just got fired over the phone. He's like, they shut the whole sales division down. And I'm like, guess what? I've got a plane ticket and I'm on the way home too. So, and then Matt was like, let's meet up tomorrow. So,
I said, yeah, because I was like, I got sick because this was technically like my 3rd or 4th
it was
layoff.
Your 3rd, and it was my 2nd in 6 months.
In 6 months. And it was just like, you know what? I think I could do a better job running a business with you as my partner, not knowing anything than all these other people that are so-called professionals. So we came back. We met at Borders the next day.
Yeah, and none of these were any fault of ours. It was just, I mean, literally, they tried to hire me back 2 weeks later and said it was due to an accounting error that we fired everybody. And I'm like,
and it's like,
I don't think I want to work at a business that makes those kind of errors.
It's not making me feel real good about you guys.
So we jumped ship there, and never looked back on them.
Yeah. I mean, and really when we decided we were going to do this, we just really, we spent every day at Borders in Brentwood and talked about.
That become our new office.
And really just kind of talked about and dreamed what we're trying to get done. We went and met with a lot of people who gave us a lot of terrible advice.
Yes.
Now, keep in mind the big piece of this, the important piece of this is we did this and started this thing in August of 2008.
Yes.
It doesn't take a rocket science to be able to remember what happened in September of 2008. That was the big crash and everything went to hell in a handbasket. So we were, trying to start a business when everybody was shutting their doors.
Yes, with zero capital.
I remember we went to the Pinnacle Bank.
Yes.
And we sat down. I probably shouldn't have said that. We went to a bank, a local bank, and we sat down in front of them, and they all but laughed us out of there. And I felt like they wanted our water back.
I felt like we should have left cash on the table for the water.
I mean,
they're like, we feel like we've wasted our time talking to you guys.
Exactly.
Like, good luck with that plan, but you're not getting a dime from a bank.
Right. And it makes total sense. I mean, I wouldn't loan money.
I think the only way we would have got money is going to a loan shark.
Yeah.
And, that wouldn't have ended well.
Tommy Knuckles.
Yeah, exactly. Neither one of us might not have legs. No. So I don't know.
I bet you can't tell. I don't have legs.
That's right.
Because I did go to that guy. Anyway, so yes, I mean, and it was you, me, my wife, Holly, who handled the books, and she didn't want to do that. She says, I'm going to do it for free. She goes, I'll do it for you, but I'm only going to do it for a little while. 3 years later, she was like, can you guys please pay me something? So we were like, oh, yeah, probably should.
Yeah.
And then it's almost 15 years later, and her office is right over there.
Yep.
Not that she's in that one a lot. She works remote a lot. But
we have an office.
We do have an office for now.
Yeah, we're not here much, but we float in, we float out.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's really, we learned a lot. We had to do a lot of stuff and grow. I mean, eventually, we did a couple acquisitions that really helped with us, and it kind of helped get us to where we are now. Yeah. And we're in a good place right now, and we're growing, and we're continuing to learn and just improve as a business and as business owners and business partners. So tell me a little bit, like, the main thing about this podcast is all going to be around the idea of working remotely, not only for yourself as a business owner, but allowing your people that same freedom and all that kind of stuff to not have to come to an office every day. And, the statistics are out there, shows that you're more productive. You do have a happier, but it's harder to do some things, harder to maintain culture. It's harder to do some of that other stuff. So this show is going to be wrapped around a lot of how people are making this and doing it successfully while maintaining culture and still growing and all that kind of stuff. So what I want to pick your massive brain about today is really, what have you noticed that has changed since COVID, since everybody had to work remote for a while? What were some of the pitfalls that people ran into, number one? And then number two, what are, how have you seen things change since that time to today?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is there's always been some companies with remote workers, but it was a small percentage.
Right.
I mean, you had your office workers that were always in the office regardless of what their job was, whether it required them to be there or not, it was a requirement.
Yeah.
And so I think, there were so many of those jobs that just had to go remote because, hey, we can't all be in the office. The government won't allow it, or, we technically can't all be there at the same time without getting sick. So, that shifted. And on the initial side, there's like, oh, this is going to be 2 weeks. So we're not even going to plan technology around it. We'll just get laptops and we'll send them home.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even plan for communication. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, all of a sudden, like, hey, we need to be able to get them on a phone call and stuff. And cell phones aren't working. So send desk phones or soft phones, all that started popping up, and it was an immediate need. And
the big difference between preparedness, as I remember it, was the people that had premise-based phone systems and the people that were already in the cloud. Because when they were already in the cloud, it wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal. I mean, you're just turning on a feature or buy a soft phone for it, where the on-premise, okay, we're talking, we got to do VPNs. We got to do all this extra work to make it work.
What if the power goes out?
Exactly. And then you're reliant on the office having power and internet, which we experienced that a time or two here in Nashville. We had a tornado, and was it 2021?
It was 2020.
Was it 2020?
It was right before COVID.
It shut anybody that had an on-premise system. Some of those were without power for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So regardless if you had remote workers or not, they had no lines of communicating with your customers, and your customers couldn't call you. And where you're on the hosted voice and everything, doesn't matter whether your office has power, internet, whatever. You can at least get voicemails or go to a soft phone on your cell phone, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And so it's been a couple years since that, initial spike and, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? Where do you see things right now? How do you see like companies accepting the idea of remote workers?
It's kind of a hybrid at the moment, because you see the older companies that really didn't want to do it in the first place kind of trying to drag everybody back to the office, which I think they'll end up finding that's kind of a detriment to do that, just because employees like the life-work balance.
They got a taste of it. They don't want to go back. They don't want to have to drive to the office every day.
I hate commuting. I mean, I only live probably 25 minutes from our office. But 25 minutes in the morning is not bad. It's the hour it takes to get home, or 45 minutes. So, I mean, it's an hour and a half of my day. Some people are much worse commutes, maybe an hour, 2 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm south of Nashville. It takes me a good at least 50 minutes.
It takes you 20 minutes to get out of your town and then to get the interstate. And it's like, I don't like wasting that much time sitting in my truck. And
we're gonna have other guests on the show that are going to talk about, especially some of the younger people that we're going to talk to, where the upcoming workforce that's coming in,
they don't want to work in the office all day. Yes.
You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to not have that and hire these new young kids.
No, I don't think so. Yeah,
because they want purpose, they want freedom, and they want balance.
Yeah,
and it's their one life and one shot at it. Why can't they have that?
And if you've got kids and stuff at home, it allows you to see them some during the day and that kind of thing, because. If I'm working in Nashville, I mean, I'm leaving at 7 or 8, getting to the office and getting home at 7, leaves a couple hours to see them.
Yeah.
Even during the summer and that kind of thing. And now it's not always easy working with the kids around, but they know when you're working, they leave you alone for the most part. Might hear my TV in the background, kids watching TV, but yeah.
So tell me this. So today, like I said, we're at right now, there's a lot of hybrid stuff going on, whatever. From a technology standpoint, what's important to really being successful in having remote workers in today's current situation?
The tools in place, whether that's on the phone side or on the IT side, having.
What's the big thing that you're seeing on our side of it, on the phone side of stuff, that is making a difference and really helping these customers?
Soft phones are a big deal, whether it's on cell phones or the laptop. Just the ability to easily communicate, see if people's on the phone, chat.
See, that's the big thing, right? Because it's not just about making and receiving phone calls. It's about how do you communicate and work with as a team when you're spread out all over the place.
To know that they're even available or in the office or whatever that day, or remote. Because the big issue was, most small offices, if you're all in one place, you don't look at the phone to do a transfer. You just yell.
Yeah. That's kind of what we do here when we're in the office. We just yell at each other.
Park the call and say, Steve, you got a call.
Yeah.
And, he picks it up and that kind of thing, where when you're remote, you don't have the ability to yell across the room to the person.
Yeah.
But you can see that they're on the phone or chat them and say, hey, you got a phone call.
Yeah. No, makes total sense. I think the big thing, like we talked about, is it's about having the tools. It's about having the right vendor that supports those tools.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's where Magic Apple stands apart from the rest of them. Everybody says you got good service. You go talk to any company out there, they're going to say, oh, our service is top notch. I beg to differ.
Yes.
We have been doing this long enough now that we know who has good service and who doesn't have good service. We do. We bonus our people on it. We pay based on it. We have great culture. Everybody gives a crap here when it comes to, if customers down, the whole place just kind of, let's get that taken care of. We've got plenty of support people.
And that's whether, that's internet or whatever the outage is. It doesn't matter. Yep. We jump in and try to assist as best we can.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about our actual platform, the Softphone and the web app platform that we have as far as features on it. It's got, you make and receive phone calls, of course, transfer.
Yep. Transfer, call park. You can see that people are on the phone. You can chat them through that. You can change your answering rules. So if you don't want your desk phone to ring, so like on my extension, I probably have like 10 different phones attached to mine.
Because you're a phone nerd.
Yes. I mean, I've got a phone at my desk in the office. I've got one where I work at the house right beside the recliner because I work from the recliner most of the time. I've got a desk
Hard
in the
life.
same room,
real hard
but
life.
it's across the room. You know, I'm not going to get up and to talk on the phone.
So you used to have to drive 25 minutes. Now you're not willing to get up and cross the room.
Correct. And most of the time I speak on speakerphone.
Yeah.
I don't even pick up the handset. You know, and I have the ability to answer on the computer as well. And I do that sometimes too when I don't even want to reach over and push a button.
Yeah. When you're in the room and somebody calls you, it's like 15 different alarms going off, and it's very disarming, and I don't like it.
Yes. Or I answer from the cell phone a lot of times because, I mean, it's setting them all up and I'm like, okay, do all that. But I can reject and silence.
Sure. And then it's got other features like chat, and you can add video to it. So it gives you a real, unified communications kind of platform there. It's fully redundant, three different locations of redundancy.
Voicemail comes through my email, has transcription. I can see that from my cell phone. I can see it on my computer. I can note it north, a particular one, or hey, that's actually a legitimate call.
Yeah.
Call that person back.
It makes your business phone as smart as your smartphone.
That's right.
And that's a big key difference. We have all this power in the palm of our hand now.
Yeah.
You should be able to have that for your business as well, not just for your personal calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you shouldn't have to give out your personal number for business so they can call you and bug you anytime you want. You want to be able to control when that's going to ring, when it's not going to ring.
On the mobile, you can easily put that in Do Not Disturb where it rings all your desk phones still. You can even schedule the Do Not Disturb on it.
Yeah.
And same thing with answering rules. I can say, hey, I'm available 8 to 5, ring all my phones. After that, go straight to voicemail or ring whatever device I want to.
Nice.
Or forward to someone else.
Nice. So just lastly, looking forward, what do you think is going to be the next thing or the big change that you see or the next tool that will help people do this more? Or do you think it's just a matter of acceptance and allowing people to do it more and using the tools that are already available?
I think it's a little bit of acceptance, but I mean, obviously there'll probably be some new tools available that we haven't even thought of. Yeah. I mean, it's the way of the market.
It's an exciting time. Jerry.
Exactly. I mean, eventually I guess I'm going to have an AI just answer all my calls for me and take care of it for me.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. Come over to your house, cook you dinner.
That's right. We can only dream, right?
That's right.
Then we'll be all like the little,
Wally.
Yes.
Yeah, the big people on the little floating carts.
Except I don't want to look like that.
Just to exercise.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the other part. It gives you the ability to get out and do stuff in the evening. Because, if I'm commuting home, there goes an hour of my day.
Yeah. You're not, if you're leaving at 5, you're not home till 6.
Yeah.
And you're like, now you can hey, it's 5. I'm hanging up. I'm going.
Yeah.
The other big thing about this too is the productivity goes up because a lot of times people get up in the morning and they're just like, hey, I'm ready to go to work. Let's go to work. So you got them going there instead of it. Oh, now I'm getting up at 6:30 trying to get there by 8. They just wake up at 8 and start working, which is awesome.
And I've always been a little strange bit of a worker anyways. I do more work after hours than I do a lot of times during the day.
Right.
Because a lot of the stuff I work on, I don't want to make changes during the day.
Right. And that's also when you get to have that, quiet time without being bombarded
my phone's
by,
not, no one's calling me.
Yeah.
No one's asking me questions after hours. So it's a little quieter.
So would you say that you being able to work from home and all that stuff has definitely increased your productivity?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You're a fan?
Absolutely.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I love it.
I wouldn't go back.
No, I wouldn't either.
It would be painful to go to an office 5 days a week.
Yeah, it would. It would.
And, like I said, I think that's going to harm those companies that force everyone to go back in the office. Obviously there's certain jobs that you have to be physically somewhere.
Right.
To do.
And this isn't applying for like trade jobs where you're like, you've got to be on site.
Right.
You're doing stuff. That obviously is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about remote work for people that it makes sense for. But office jobs, sales jobs.
But even our install tech works from home.
Yeah. But he's always remote, right? I mean, he's always out and about.
So, there are days that he's not out and about, but he takes the equipment back to his house, gets everything set up for a job that's coming up the next day, and he's able to do that.
And he loves that.
Yeah, because, it saves him time and doesn't have to travel here and, doesn't have to rush home to feed his dog. dog's already there.
Yep. Well, hey, listen, man, I appreciate you being on the first episode. I think this was fun.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have you back on here again because we're going to keep doing this. Remember to check us out, wanderingworkerpodcast.com. We are on all the socials as well. And also check us out at Magic Apple. So magicapple.com. We've got a ton of information on there. Got some cool photos of the team, some walkthrough of the office we currently have. So, check us out. Thank you. And we'll see you next time on the Wandering Worker Podcast.